The filter-free diary. Uh,
Good morning. So it's definitely after 8:30. I don't think it's quite 8:40 yet, but it is probably approaching 8:40. Okay, so let's talk about the masculine. So if the idea is spirit reflected itself into a body and developed the feminine, and then spirit combined with the feminine that it had reflected, which is technically a version of itself. So spirit had combined with the feminine to create the masculine. And that's how number 3 was created. It is technically the son element of the mother and the father, but the mother is technically the father reflecting itself. So really, spirit is just doing a bunch of cool little cartwheels, and we're getting two different forces. Why? I don't know, because that's what I felt like doing. So the masculine. So the masculine is like the mind, right? It is the recording. It's very detail oriented. Definitely more so than the feminine. The feminine, when it does a reflection, like on water or in its mind, it's always kind of a backward kind of thing, because that's how reflections work. But when the masculine comes along, it's almost like it can take the feminine and flip it upside down, right? So that now the masculine looks very similar to spirit, as where the feminine kind of looked backwards in a reflection. I don't know. I don't know if that made any sense to you at all. But that's how the masculine comes about. And it is like the mind in that it doesn't have form. And if this is going to sound like a diss, but if you look at the masculine form, men, in the human species anyways, they are definitely supported by the form, meaning the form is much stronger, but you can tell they are not the form because it doesn't really have beauty to it. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. They are very square and very angular on purpose, because the body supports them as the number 3, right? The number 3 rests on the number 2. And it's more customized, it's more defined than the number 2 was. And it's bigger. It's not curvy and beautiful, but it's bigger. It's got more support. It's stronger. The body is. And that's because that's the number 2 supporting the number 3, because the masculine doesn't have a form. Not really. It's kind of cube and chunky and angular. Or if you look in nature, it's diminished, smaller, definitely more colorful. And that plays into the creativity of the mind. The idea being that I need to get attention, right? I need the feminine to notice me so that she will, give me eggs and I can, raise little genetic similars to be like me. As a masculine, that's the only way the masculine can reproduce, is to copy its recording onto the recordings of smallers, right? When it comes to the feminine is copying the body into the body of smallers. But the idea with the masculine is it's the mind. It can copy its understandings. It can teach lessons. It can learn lessons if it wants to learn lessons. And a long time ago, The masculine absolutely wanted to learn lessons. And then it can impart those lessons. Like I said, that's how the masculine reproduces. It makes mental copies, as where the feminine makes the physical copies. And spirit doesn't make any copies at all. Spirit has to break off pieces of itself because there's only one. That's wild, right? Anyway, so animals are the reflection of the masculine, because they can, move around, they can problem solve, they can, think about what it is they need. Oh, I need to get to safety, so they are mobile and they can move around. Or, oh, I need to find a mate, so I can pass my mental copy on. Or, oh, I need to build a form in reverence to where I came from. Anyways, but yeah, that's kind of the idea behind the masculine. It doesn't have a form, but it has a being in its mentality. It has a whole world up here, and it just wants to copy its world. And honestly, that's where you get a lot of these creative creations that the masculine makes, like simulations and video games and movies and stuff. Those are copies of mentality. I just thought I'd mention that. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. Have a good morning. I think I'm done for today.